Hey, I want you all to know we have a new job opening here. It is for a kick-ass sysadmin. We're looking for somebody who obviously understands the ins and outs of being a sysadmin and can build packages. So if you want to work with super cool people like Chris, almost cool people like me, apply. Come work with us.
It's great. Seriously.
It's a lot of fun. So, anywho,
PDQ.com/jobs. That's the.
Thank you, JJ.
Yeah,
PDQ.com/jobs.
Voice in our head.
We should jump into this, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to start with a question, or should I talk about a support issue? All right, so guys, we've been getting a lot of support issues. I just want to throw this out there for you because there was a change made in 10 about credentials versus console user. So, support guys asked me to just clarify this. So, basically, we did this for security purposes, okay? Let's say Chris and I both use the same machine. I'm an admin who can deploy stuff, and he can't. So what happens is I log in, I set my stuff up on PDQ Deploy, you have a background user running, okay? It's with my credentials. When I log off, Chris can log in, and with that background, if he were to be able to search and stuff and find it, he could actually deploy stuff. So,
I'm devious and I would do that.
well, obviously he is. So for the security purposes, you now have to have credentials, and your credentials need to be allowed in the background service. Did I say that right?
Need to be allowed
exactly backwards.
As a console user. Yeah, they need to be allowed there.
So what'll happen is Chris will log in, he'll try to deploy something, a screen will come up and says, hey, you can't do it unless you know this password. If he knows the password, which means he should be able to do it, it would add him to the background server, his console user,
As a console user.
to the background service. So that's what that is for, guys. So please understand it's a security thing. We just want to keep you guys safe. So
Yeah, it really boils down to, can you open the console or can you not? Do you have permission or do you not? This is important if you're using PowerShell, like a gentleman or gentlewoman.
Command
to deploy,
line.
to do stuff remotely. If you're doing anything remotely and you want to say, hey, PDQ Deploy or PDQ Inventory, run this command, the credential that's requesting that needs to actually have a console user entry so that it can actually run any of the commands from the command line.
So enough talk. Let's show them, right? So you go under Preferences. Oh, my bad. All right.
Oh, that's a good point.
Preferences under Background Service, you'll see right here, console users need to be added right. I'm going to use JJ's highlighter right here, guys.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay? And it didn't show up that I can tell. Anyways, right down in this area, okay? Anyway, yeah, I probably broke JJ's stuff, so should we hit that question now?
Sweet.
All right.
All right, our first question of the day coming from Matt M. Dear Lex and Chris, I saw you guys added the Windows 7 updates, which is awesome. For Windows 7 updates, do we want to install the monthly rollup or the security only or both? Also for Windows 10, will you be adding the update file to go to the next anniversary update, for example, from 1511 to 1607?
Matt, way to slide two questions in there, buddy. All right, so first of all, to understand the difference between the roll-ups and the security only, okay? Roll-ups are just that. They roll all the security stuff up from the previous months, and security only, security only. So let's say, December, January. I skip December's security updates. If I deploy the roll-up, it rolls all the stuff that was in December all the way up through January, and I'm deploying it. If I just do the security updates, I might have missed the stuff in December. So best practice, do the roll-ups, not just the security.
Yep. I got the second question. No. It's just that simple. So what it boils down to is the update to 1611 is essentially an ISO. It's an image. You're upgrading
image.
your operating system. We're not getting to that game. Even if you were to trigger it via deploy, we're not going to get a result because it's changed the environment. So we can't do that.
The amount of things that possibly could go wrong there are just, the risk is too much for us to do that, guys. So we want you guys to do it, with Microsoft.
Exactly. And it's pretty painless as is. Just go down the ISO and use your image deployment software and go to town.
Yep. All right, so that's that. Way to answer that one.
1 for 1.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, long question.
Yeah, this one is a long one from Scott S.
So
In Deploy, is it possible to skip a specific task, especially a nested package task, when I know it's going to fail or is already hung? I have many packages that run a dozen nested packages that themselves contain many nested packages. Think package Inception. And on the rare occasion an install hangs, I'd like to be able to skip the hung task and move to the next to continue the rest of the package. Currently, I have to open the failed package to view the failed and unrun tasks and manually deploy up to a dozen packages that are scattered across a dozen package folders. Sincerely, Scott S.
Okay, I want to take this.
Okay.
I'm just going to drink, Scott. You confused the crap out of me there, buddy. Honestly, go ahead, Chris. I'm like, huh?
Short answer is no. There's no way to basically say, oh, it's kind of at a process where it's hanging and continue onward. There's really not, because there's no way for the deploy runner service, when you target a machine and send your deployment, there's no way for it to know that you're currently in I'm waiting stage as opposed to I'm doing something stage.
Good point.
So at this point, your best option is to do conditions in the package, in the package level or the step level, or if there's not enough conditions for you, say you're basing something on WMI, wrap it around with a PowerShell script, throw it in a PowerShell step, and you can do it that way. It's a little more complex, but you can do it.
So when you wrap it in a PowerShell script, wrap that in a PowerShell script, and one more PowerShell script, just to keep that nesting going.
Oh yeah, with the whole Inception a little bit, PowerShell Inception. Wow, I'm
there we
slurring
go.
my speech already. That's great.
So yeah, no, there's no way to do that one. So, all right. What do you think? Next question, guys?
Hang on.
Oh, hang on. Banter.
Banter.
They're saying banter in my ear. Wow, Chris, that's a nice beard.
Still sorting out some technical details.
Yeah, we're getting this thing worked out.
All right.
All right, dear Lex and Chris, would you ever consider using an agent for use with PDQ products? Why or why not? Sincerely, Brian W.
Would we consider using an agent? Yes. Actually, guys, I'm not committing to this, but it kind of, at request of so many people needing those agents, we are definitely looking into an optional agent. I think we've mentioned this before. We can see a lot of benefits to having an agent, but we're never going to force you to use it because, it's so nice to not have to do that. So
Right, that's actually one of the big draws to PDQ Deploy and Inventory in general, is that it's agentless. So I know a lot of people, that's what, myself included, when I originally found the software was, oh my goodness, no agent, yes! So...
Yeah, no promises, no commitments, no deadlines.
no promises, no commitments, no deadlines. I love it.
The idea is that an optional agent is possibly on the table.
On the drawing board, yeah.
Definite maybe.
Probably, maybe, definitely, possibly not.
Might involve
Definitely.
corgis.
Whoa.
Oh, hey.
Right.
Be able to fit that one. Can you
Yeah.
see that?
Can you see that? Or just
Is
follow
Andrew
the
watching? Andrew, will you
the
take
bouncing
notes?
ball.
And
Does that not fit on the screen?
it really
Does
doesn't.
not
Okay.
fit on the screen.
Well, then just follow the melodious tones of my voice. Okay, here we go. I work in education. Is there a way that I can automate a script for deleting temp files and temp internet files, saved browser information for a shared lab of about 30 Windows computers used by about a group of a couple hundred kids? The computers use a shared account for login, so computer 1 is user 1, etc. They take a lot of online tests and lessons, and the sites, the students have their own account, and it's unique to the individual student. We will have about 30 different students log into the same sites on any given day per computer, and we have found out that doing this troubleshooting can fix a lot of sign-on issues. Just was wondering if there is a better way of going from computer to computer every other day or so. Thanks, Elliot M.
Automation, I can run
Take
with
it,
this
take
one.
it,
So-
man. I'm just going,
Okay, so with PowerShell, yes, probably. If you've identified what needs to be deleted, absolutely. You can do it with a batch file, you can do it with PowerShell, you can do it with really any language you might or might not be comfortable with that can do this. But I'm a fan of PowerShell, so I'm going to push that down people's throats.
So with the PowerShell, you can put it on a heartbeat schedule, and machine reboots,
Yep.
picks up the power, it cleans up the machine. I can think of a lot of different ways to go about that, but probably PowerShell and a heartbeat schedule or a daily
Yeah.
deployment.
And you can even throw it with a group policy if you're using Active Directory. You can sign, log on scripts, log off scripts, computer startup scripts, whatever. You can deploy these. So that'd be my way to do it.
Yeah.
So
Dear Shane and Chris, with Inventory 12 Enterprise, is there a way to be notified when new machines are discovered, either by network scan or AD sync? Sincerely, Andrew S.
Go ahead, man.
I got this. Okay. I think I know how to.
Drive.
Okay.
And I just want to tell you, Kelly, I have not grown a beard
see,
as cool as Shane's yet, so it's Lex and Chris. Caught you, buddy. You slipped. Okay, so Chris, what do we got, buddy? Yeah, you got to narrate.
PDQ. Okay, so we are going to go to where the database is stored for inventory. This is for, I've actually somewhat recently looked at something similar to this. So you can run queries to the database from PowerShell. It's really, really simple. Or you're using the SQLite
Database
EXE
in SQL,
itself. Yeah, so, but you can actually wrap that on PowerShell really easily. So here, I'm just identifying my database. I can then identify my the code that I want in SQL. And at this point, you just have to be a little bit familiar with the tables, explore a little bit, but you can actually grab that information. So if you were to say, if I recall the column names correctly, it's select, let's do it from added from, let's do name and added from computers where.
Okay, we're taking bets on whether Chris does this right the first time.
Yeah.
I say yes.
My money's on Chris, too. Don't bet against yourself, man.
Added from in.
Well, that'd be the easy way.
I know, it's like, oh.
Did he say, could you pull up the question again? I think it was network discovery and AD sync. Yeah, okay. So let's see, network discovery. I think there's no spaces in this one. AD sync, semicolon.
I'm so impressed you have that in your mental Rolodex.
SQL. Let me pipe it, because piping is good. Yes, I do. Pipe that SQL statement into SQLite 3.exe, because it's on your path. Otherwise, you can actually type out the entire path. And then DB. So that might work, actually.
I dare you to run it.
I will. I
right.
think that's capital too.
If it works, I'm drinking. If it doesn't work, I'm drinking. Either way.
Bam.
Knocking the lights out the studio, man.
Okay, so with this, so now you can identify what it was added for. You see these all added from AD sync, and the date and the name. In order to actually get an update from this, you might use like a PowerShell command like send mail message to actually get you to email the results. Throw it on a task schedule or something, have it on a timer, have it on an event, whatever. Or you could even I think there's triggers in SQLite as well, but I'm not going to get into that. So PowerShell, set that up on a timer, you can get the results emailed to you, whatever. So yeah, do it. That's awesome. Good question.
I love it when you get excited. You start talking really, really fast.
Next question from Monica K. Other than reporting on disk model, is there a way to tell right away if a disk is SSD or HDD?
Well, that is a good question. I would say a couple of things. A lot of manufacturers will put SD or HD in the serial number. So if you can, pull that. I don't know, Chris, you got any thoughts on that one?
Off the top of my head, no. I don't know a good way to do that. I do not.
So obviously this disk is an AT ST500. It's my guess is a Seagate IDE. So that would probably just be a spindle disk.
Yeah.
Most of the Seagates will be SSD in the serial number. So I don't know of any really good ones. I mean, it depends. If you uniformly do your machines and you can tell from the serial numbers, you can do obviously queries on that in inventory.
Oh, that's going to bother me until I figure out.
Is it?
There's going to be a PowerShell way. I know we're going to figure
There's going to be a
that.
PowerShell.
But I don't know off
G
right
stumped.
now. So I am.
You're stumped. Drink it up, Chris.
I don't have drink enough to drink up.
I can fix that.
Yes.
All right.
Good question. I wish I had the answer. I don't know.
Next question, dear Lex and Chris. Hi, people of PDQ. About inventory, how can I automatically update some hosts which were offline before the last scan on my directory? Thanks a lot, and greetings from Buenos Aires, Argentina, Gus S.
Hi, Gus. Nice picture.
That's awesome. All right. Chris, you want that one?
Sure.
Okay.
If what I'm understanding when you say host, I'm assuming you mean within PDQ inventory itself.
Mm-hmm.
I would just as soon make sure that in your scan profile that you use, you have a scan age set up, or you have a heartbeat trigger set up. So in scanning, in scan profiles, if you have, let's just say the standard one, which has a scan age trigger, this will, if it hasn't been scanned in over 7 days, it'll automatically trigger scan next time it's able to when it comes online.
And to catch someone when they're coming online, set up a heartbeat trigger.
Yeah, throw a heartbeat on here and
Understand though, your heartbeat trigger it works for things that are already in inventory, so they've got to go from an offline status to an online status. Once they do that, then it will scan. It usually takes about 60 seconds, but that scan will run. So set the heartbeat trigger here, and that will generally help.
Yep.
Heartbeat
Good
triggers
question.
are awesome. Great question. That's
Well
a
done.
wonderful functionality.
And we have another question from Scott S. Is it possible to manually associate an IP to a client? When an office worker is traveling and connects to VPN, inventory often has trouble seeing it with the VPN-assigned address. I can look up their VPN IP quickly and would love to nudge inventory to use that IP.
Okay, so I'm thinking a couple of options here, right? Now, VPN, DHCP is still assigning IPs,
Well, it
right?
has to hand them out.
Can we do a reservation then?
Oh, that's probably a good idea.
So a reservation on a Mac, that might be a way to do it, but you do that at DHCP. I don't know if you do that in inventory. It wouldn't be an inventory issue. What else you thinking?
Geez, that's a really good question. You can change the IP address manually within Active Directory, but you have to disallow scanning in order to do that, because you can change some of the fields.
Yeah.
If you were to
show
pull
them
them
where
up,
to do that, yeah.
let's pull up Training 7 here. He's timing out already. So in this case, if you have the computer window open, you can disallow this option, which is allow scan,
Yep.
and you can come in and modify your IP address as you see fit. I'm not sure how beneficial it's going to be, since you're going to be offline at that, or excuse me, it's not going to scan at that point.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is kind of
You
one
can
of those.
manually change it, but it really does you no good at that point because you're not going to be able to scan it.
Right, unless you have records that point, I don't know. There's.
Basically, I
His
would
is
say
best idea probably.
check into two things. See if you can, have your VPN client assign it the same every time, or have your
Yeah.
DHCP register your MAC address.
That's probably the best.
Hey, Brig, Josh, if you're out there, guys, if you can think of something better, please chime in on the chat about it.
No.
Next question from Grant B. What is the best way to push out registry changes to HKey current user if that user is not currently logged on?
I got this one.
I know what you're going to say. So
Okay, so y'all know the answer to PowerShell. I have a blog post specifically about this, but I do want to call out that you really, really, really should do this with a heavy hand and think about it, because in order to do that, you actually have to load that user's Hive, their ntuser.dat file, which just resides in their user profile directory. When you do that, however, if anything goes wrong, you have an I/O error, you have your machine blows up. I guess that causes more issues anyway. But if something happens while you have that particular file loaded, you've just corrupted their registry. So
you'll end up having to rebuild that, which is generally a pretty ugly process.
yeah, but we do have that blog post. If anybody who has the ability to look that up, you can add it to the bonus content section to see that. But the general process is to use the reg application to load that file, and then to make your changes, because it'll now be under the HKey users Hive, based off whatever you name it. You can name it whatever you want. Change it, and then unload that registry file. That's about as simple as it gets. But I do have kind of a template on that blog, so check it out.
Yeah, just be judicious with that, okay? Be careful.
Okay.
Dearest Lex and Chris, what is the best practice for backing up my PDQ deploy settings, including scheduled tasks and the list of my auto deployment packages? The same question for PDQ Inventory. Sincerely, Andre the Giant H.
That's easy.
Yep, that really is quite easy, guys.
Okay, we'll pull up the preferences. If you're not familiar with this, check it out. In the database section here, there's a whole thing called automatic backup schedule. If you are on Pro or higher, I believe, you can change this. These backups are done by default once a week at Saturday at 10 p.m. Yeah. You can change that to daily. You can change it to whatever you want based off any of these schedules here, these triggers. So
Anything you set up there. And I would suggest try and get it off your box so it's a legitimate backup.
Yeah.
Put it somewhere else.
yeah, and it does grab your auto deployments. It'll grab your schedules. It'll grab just your database. So
Preferences the whole bit. So
offload it somewhere.
that's the way you do it, dude.
And our next question from Bryce H. With the new awesome Windows updates and deploy, what would you suggest is best practice for sending those out to workstations? Should we schedule to run the packages after verifying Patch Tuesday updates are safe, or should we be more cautious with constantly pushing them out to workstations?
Bryce, that's a personal preference, my friend.
Yeah.
My suggestion, this is the way I do it around here. I really want to let everybody else figure out the problems. I don't want to do it myself, so I will we'll generally wait. We'll see what happens, see what comes up, keep track of what's Microsoft news and that kind of thing. And, we put it on a little bit of a delay. I would suggest you do the same thing.
Yeah, it's just there's a trade-off at work here at play, and again, like I said, I mean, let everybody else who's installing it figure out the bugs. Speaking of which, the Windows update, I think the rollups and stuff. There's like a big exploit relating to SMB.
SMB, that's right. Yeah,
that's supposed to come out with this latest one, but there's a blog on TechNet where they just recently updated within the last day or so.
Okay.
Saying that they're going to push it off until March.
Wow.
So that, which is already a couple weeks old already, is now being delayed another 4 weeks. So, I mean, at this point, what do you do?
That's what happens when a 0 day comes right before Patch Tuesday.
So,
I was going to say, guys, make sure you get good firewall settings, good fence around the ranch.
SMB alternatives.
a bat to the computer.
Next question from our good friend Timo S. Which scam profile includes the information if a system is locked? I often use this information to see if the user is back in the office if I need to call him.
All right, so system information, that comes from the computer, which would be computer information table, guys. The computer information scanner.
Yep.
So that's, let's pull that up.
Got it. Here we have my shortcuts aren't working, so we're going to go with preferences. Scam profiles, we have our computer info.
You should be doing that anyway, Chris. But
I know, I should.
Say no to shortcuts there, buddy.
I use shortcuts way more than I...
I know, but on the webcast.
I know. So here we go. The computer info is one of the default scam profiles. It uses the computer details scanner. That's the one you want.
That's the one.
So. You can also get that info.
And do you want to see where that
from
information
WMI.
would show up, I guess? Should we show where it's locked? Computer information.
Right there, current user.
There you go.
Sweet. Voila.
We'll get that highlighter thing fixed out.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
So I'll highlight with my selector. There. var Trixie B.
Next question from Jason A. Is there an update to bring a Windows 7 to complete 100% Windows Update status to date that you will be providing, so we can add this to our baseline and be fully updated at the same time?
Just grab your glass. We're just going to drink on this
Okay,
one.
so we have the cumulative updates,
Yeah.
the rollup update that they've recently started doing for Windows 7. That's your best bet.
Yeah, at this
So
point.
that's what we're
And
providing.
again, we're following Microsoft to try and keep current, but it's definitely a process when it comes to doing that with Microsoft. So,
Yeah. So that's about it.
yeah.
Dearest Lex and Chris, after a recent deploy update, one of my auto deployment packages says this library package version already has an auto deployment package. How do I make this happy again? I do not have a duplicate that I can see. Sincerely, Andrew S.
Sounds like a good question for support.
Yeah.
Hey?
I don't think I've run into that one.
I don't think I have either. They probably are hopefully frantically typing an answer into the chat here if they know it, but I don't know without investigating what might have happened. Maybe there was... I don't even want to speculate. I have no idea.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you, Chris. I'm like, I don't know. I've never been able to do that one, so
No.
we'll have to check that one out. Brig, Jason, if you're on, guys, if you've seen it, let us know.
You might attempt restoring a previous backup and then updating again. Maybe there was just a hiccup with your own machine. Maybe there's an I/O issue. I mean, who knows? I don't know. Maybe there's a bug that we have known about and have fixed.
I guess there's a lot of
So
possibilities there, so without getting details, it'd be hard to say.
Matthew H. has a question. If I'm looking at a collection library on inventory, for example, Java 7, what's the easiest way to export that list into an Excel file? Do I have to create a report?
So, the easiest way to export that into an Excel file, I would definitely, do a report off that and then, export your report. That is the way to do it.
there's one other way too.
Is there another way?
There is. If you just, it depends what you're looking for. In the report, what you want to report on, if you just need a list of the computers and then can trim the fat.
Okay, that's a good point.
So like in this case, we have Java 7 not installed. I'll use that just because we have machines here. If I select all the machines here or whatever, and then go to save data to file, you can actually export it to a CSV, not a specific XLS file, but you can then open it up and save it as
Excel.
XLS, or get a converter or something. But that's, Excuse me.
Wow.
I clicked, I investigated, and found the solution for you. That's great. See what I did there? So, it's a good thing I clicked
Well
that.
done,
So you can
Chris.
do many options here, including XLS and XLSX for your convenience.
Learned something new today, huh? Love it.
And we have a question from the infamous Stephen V. My boss would like a report-only user in inventory to be able to log in to see the server and create reports. Is that something that could be added in a later release?
Added we can add pretty much anything.
Yeah, sky's the limit.
That question is a veiled feature request.
Yeah, that's like a yes. It's a feature request there. I guess we'll add that to the list of things people want, and we'll have a discussion. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool feature. I mean, absolutely.
Well, I guess the other thing you do is just email him the reports. Find out what he wants, and just have those sent to him on a regular basis.
Automatic?
Yeah, auto emails.
Yeah, you could even. Yes, we have the mail notification set up. You can go.
Yeah.
We can do that from the preferences. And then have a mail notification, which many of you are probably familiar with. I am not going to the right spot here. You set up your mail server here, and for whatever reason, I'm having a mind blank here. What am I thinking here?
Go to reports, my friend. Is it reports?
Oh, I'm thinking deploy.
yeah,
That's what
we're
I'm
in the
thinking.
wrong-
I am
we're
thinking
not in
deploy.
inventory,
Excuse me,
deploy, yeah.
deployments. For the mail notifications for deploy and schedules. So here on a mail server, you can set up your notifications and have them go to whomever you choose. You can create multiple. You can have it as specific, as detailed, or as vague as you'd like. So
you can spam your boss if you'd like.
Yay!
Hope that kind of gives you
I hope so. If not, I know you
at
like
least
PowerShell.
work around there.
Send mail message. Hey.
All right.
Chris.
This is our final question of the day. Dear Lex and Chris, I have multiple users who are using the same computers. They often just lock the system and don't log out. The issue I have is that the list of computers shows only one logged on user. When will you add the other users to the list? Marcel L.
So Marcel, that information is only as good as your last scan, which means whoever was on it the last time you scanned it is who's going to get reported. We really don't go any deeper into listing everybody who has been logged onto that computer.
Yeah, you can try and glean this information using WMI. I forget the specific class names. It's logged on sessions, and logged on users or something. I don't remember off the top of my head, but you can see the history of who's logged on since the last reboot, I believe. And you can kind of get that information, but I don't remember if you can actually determine whether or not they're still logged on or not. So
There's ways to glean that information, but nothing native in inventory right now. So, all right.
Sweet.
Well, that was almost painful.
Pain.
Hanging out with me is always
Almost
painful,
one of those
so-
things.
Much pain.
Much pain. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. I appreciate it. Hey, remember, we got a sysadmin job that's open. Help us build some packages. Work with super cool Chris and almost cool me. And hey, thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thanks for joining the webcast today. Congratulations to Matt H. and Grant B., winners of PDQ Swag. Give us your info at webcast@adminarsenal.com. And don't forget, we are also looking for a kick-arse sysadmin position. You can find that on the website, adminarsenal.com/careers. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you back here next week.